Welcome back to ToBeSeen.com. I am your co-host for this venture into all things Doctor Who in the console room. My name is Captain Joe Dove, and if I look familiar, it's because my face seems to be all over this podcast foray on YouTube on the To Be Seen channel. I am in 1 week later shedding light and many other stories, but in this case, we are here to do all things Doctor Who. I'm having a blast with your host, Ernesto.
Time Lords, Time Ladies, welcome back to the console room. We discussed it last week, so we're doing it this week. The first episode featuring the fifth Doctor, Peter Davison,
Yes,
Castrovalva.
Peter Davison. Yeah, I love Peter Davison. He's so funny.
Really?
Not that one? Oh, okay.
First you Buffy roll me. Now you give me this?
Gotta keep it lighthearted. That's what I'm known for. I'm known for the ha, not so much as the
Well, you know what? I kind of deserve that considering I didn't warn you how the BBC used to air Doctor Who.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I think it was so much shorter back in the day, only a half hour, and then it goes part 2, part 3, part 4. I used to sit through this as a toddler. How? I was my grandmother's remote. Baby, go up in there and change the channel so I can watch the Doctor. And I'm thinking, like, is it Dr. Kevorkian? No. Doctor Who. And I always had to change all the there it is. Now hit the TV on the top, baby. So in case you're wondering, my grandmother was from the Mason-Dixon line, so she did have a very deep Southern accent, African-American.
That must have been great.
Oh, it was amazing because, like, as a kid, oh yeah, your great grandmother's from Maryland. It's my great grandmother, not my grandmother. My great grandmother was from Maryland. It's like, oh, really? I thought she was the one that was from South Carolina. No, she's the one from Maryland. But why does she sound like that? So it's just wild learnings about how things were with that line that separated the South from the North was crazy. But God bless Grandma Pud. I miss her greatly.
Sort of Roots. I'm sure it sounds like a great lady. This episode of Captain Joe's Roots has been brought to you by...
Yeah, right. Kunta Kinte. Yeah, that's right. Former slaves.
LeVar Burton was just on
I saw that
show, Who Do You Think You Are?
Yeah.
You know, we definitely need to do a short about that because it is so fascinating. What he finds out. And as someone who only just recently found out my roots, it's some really interesting watching.
Yeah, it is. All right, but we're not here for our roots. We're here for the Doctor.
We're here for the roots of Doctor Who.
Yeah, Pete Davidson, right? No.
Speaking of which, he better do those roots.
Yeah, right? Oh my God, no, the actual Doctor, Peter Davison.
Peter Davison, D-A-V. No second D.
Yeah,
Davis.
Take the D out. No.
So what you're saying, but so for those of you who did not watch Casteovalva on Tubi, the BBC used to air each story in anywhere from 2 to 4, usually 4, but sometimes 6 or 8 episodes. And each episode was approximately 25, 27 minutes. Yes. That's just the way the BBC One was at the time. And when they were broadcast here in the States, all 4 episodes were edited together for about 1 hour, which shows how much just spare time was shot for each of the stories. What was it in episode 2 of Castrovalva? Tegan and Nyssa are literally walking through the forest for like a good 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, at one point falling in. Yeah. It did not further the plot at all in any way, shape, or form. However, this is the way it was done for, almost 30 years. Yeah. From 63 to
89
to 88, 89. Yeah. So that's the way they did it, and so be it. And that's how fans love the show. We in America, we got it a little different. So excuse me. So when Russell T Davies decided to reboot the show back in 2005, I guess he just took a page from either from the American edits, or maybe they just decided to do things differently. I don't know. Maybe it was a budget thing. I'm not 100% sure. That would be something good to go down a rabbit hole. But he decided to do just the standard 60-minute episode
format.
Thank you. And that's what Americans are used to. That is now what the Brits are used to, and that is the way Doctor Who is now. So
speaking of the Doctor, it's might as well get into
Doctor Who?
Doctor Who? Doctor Who? Doctor Who?
Fellas, you're never going to stop asking.
We'll get into that particular Doctor later. But in this iteration, it is the 5th Doctor who had the most ginormous Whovian shoes to fill in the history of Doctor Who. I would venture to say even current Who's have to,
without a doubt. In fact, as of our recording today, today is actually Tom Baker, the 4th Doctor's 90th birthday. So we here at the Council Room and everyone from the 2BC Network wants to wish the great Tom Baker a very happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Want a jelly baby?
Happy birthday. Yes, one jelly baby with 90 candles.
Yeah,
so, bless him. It's all over Twitter. He did a little photo shoot featuring the scarf. And bless him, he looks fantastic.
Yeah.
So happy birthday,
now,
Tom
too,
Baker.
so.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
90 though. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But I think one of the biggest things with Tom Baker is his voice, because his voice is so like based and stern. It's almost like Darth Vader.
Yes. Yeah, very distinctive. Whenever Tom would do any type of voiceover work, you could always peg his voice. You could always tell.
He showed up also in Star Wars. I thought that was interesting. Yeah. But we're here about
but
he is.
We're here to talk about Tom Baker's successor.
Yes.
Peter Davison.
Yep. Not that guy. That guy. I swear that'll be the last time I throw that card up. So the first thing that we've got going on here in Casteovalva is they get back in the TARDIS after the Master has overcome the 4th Doctor, and the ultimate probably to the fans slap in the face could be, or just a breakaway from the old, was to unravel that beloved scarf.
I don't think it was meant to be a slap in the face.
No, but I'm saying sure they might have taken it that way at the time.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it at all.
And like I said, I don't think it was meant to be,
especially considering whenever you have a new Doctor, you will always have the fans' initial protest. You'll always have the, this is what I'm used to. They did it with Star Trek, with the Next Generation. There's many fans do not like change.
Right.
So whenever there was a new Doctor, there was always an uproar.
Yeah.
Now, Tom Baker, having served his time 7 seasons as the Doctor, the longest running Doctor to date.
Yes.
And again, so beloved. Tom Baker, arguably the man who made Doctor Who, really, he brought it to the next level and made it what it now is.
Mm-hmm.
And here comes this, at the time of shooting, 30-year-old, thin, straight blonde hair, blue-eyed actor, Peter Davison. And one of the first things he does is he starts frogging. And yes, that is what it is called. When someone unravels a knitted item, it's called frogging because of the sound it makes. And I know this because I am married to an avid knitter. She actually did this. This is her scarf. She hand knitted this. Yeah, which is why it doesn't leave the house.
There you go. Yeah, even though it's super cold out, and you would probably want to just wrap that bad boy up around your whole head because it's so cold. And I live on the Palisades, so it's so windy. My poor little dog can't go outside.
I'm sure.
Have a kite. But yeah, amazing
Peter
work
Davison,
by her.
31 years old when this episode aired.
Mm-hmm.
The youngest actor to play the Doctor. up until Matt Smith took over the role in 2010, and a little bit of connection of Matt Smith to Peter Davison. Matt Smith, born 28 October 1982. The first episode of Castrovalva airs 4 January 1982. Castrovalva is older than Matt Smith.
There we go. Same year, but different times. It's all wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
All timey wimey.
Yeah. So one of the first things that we do is we find out about the amazing Zero Room as the Doctor rediscovers himself and gets a brand new design, so to speak. He has a new look and new threads as they unthreaded the scarf. He now has like a cricket uniform.
The cricket stuff.
Yeah, cricket stuff. I like the sweater. Like the sweater and the pants are pretty cool, and the hat. But the trench coat being brown was kind of like, oh, that's an odd color scheme, like brown, pink, and I guess it's red. I do have my
with the red trimming.
Problems. Yeah, it's got like a red trimming. It's an interesting look. It matches, the color scheme matches. I just think I don't know. They went from like because like the Tom Baker had like brown, and then he did like maroon for a long period of time, and then I guess they wanted to do like a lighter palette, more warm and friendly, or lighter.
I'm sure it also depends a lot on the actor's complexion and the lighting tone that they're using at the time. But again, I think they wanted just as much of a departure as they could from the old guard.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they wanted not. In fact, they even did a little tip to the old guard as well. Just before Pete picks up the cricket bat, he finds Patrick Troughton, the second Doctor's recorder, plays a few notes, and says, "No." In other words, no. I'm not living in the past anymore. I am a new man. I'm a new Doctor, and no, this was the past. But look at this cricket bat. And for anyone who has ever held a cricket bat, they are actually a great instrument.
I thought you say weapon.
Actually they are. If you watch Shaun of the Dead, you will see how effective they are against zombies.
Yeah. That's actually one of the best things that they're all hitting with the cricket bats. Shout out. But yeah, I just think that the new direction of the Doctor here, he's more I don't know. I don't want to say disciplinary, but more friendly and stern at the same time. So it was interesting to go through the motions with him. And I found you had mentioned something about killing time. One of the big time killers that they had was putting him in this strange chamber and running through the woods. They had the round disc things wrapped around the roundels. Yeah, almost in like a sarcophagi type of thing. And the two companions are like trudging them through the woods, and they're just frolicking in the woods of Castrovalva. And that was an amazing piece of history at that time because
Castrovalva itself is the name of the city. There was some misunderstanding at first. When watching it the first time, and even rewatching it now, I forgot that normally the Doctor refers to the names of planets. So when he says Castrovalva, you're immediately thinking that this is the name of the planet. No, it's not. It is the name of the town, the settlement, the castle.
Yep. Castrovalva. Yes.
And
yes, to me it looks like, and I think you had the same realization.
Exactly.
The same. When I was like, are they like, is this a joke on Monty Python, or are they like giving a nod to the old Python crew? Because immediately when they posted that photo, that still image, and like they had their like leaves moving around, I was like, oh my God, this is the Camelot, Knights of the Round Table. So that's why I had to grab that.
It's only a model.
It's only
that's it. I'm sure that it was kind of an inside joke or an inside tip of the hat to Python. But then again, we have to remember, these shows were done with, on such a shoestring budget.
Yeah, that's true.
And and the monsters that the Doctor fights throughout the initial run of the show are obvious of that low budget.
Yeah.
I forget which one it is. One of them is literally just a guy in spray painted bubble wrap.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one it is. And folks, if you remember who I'm talking about, leave a message in the comments. Let me know who or what that alien was, who was just a guy in bubble wrap.
Yeah.
But yeah, so instead of trying to, we are in the UK, there's hundreds of castles we can choose from. Let's just build a model so we make it look a little bit more alien. But all it did was make generations of nerds go, it's only a model.
It's only a model.
Connect it forever. Doctor Who is connected to Monty Python.
Yeah. Another fun thing in this episode, and I wanted to bring it up because I don't have the full card. I'm only going to share a little snippet. Is the way that people on Castrovalva's hats were. It's like, hey, quick, get that plant bucket, wrap some twill or some tulle around it, and then that's our bad guy.
Yeah. Again, budgetary, like you discussed earlier this week on the Agony booth. Why is every planet that they go to the same gravity as Earth? Budget. For sure. And then if you want to watch that episode, that's the Children Shall Lead. It's one of the more fun episodes we've done in a while, with two background actors of Star Trek, Michael Chan and David Jones. But this iteration of the Doctor has some new companions as well, if I'm not mistaken. Well, no, the companions are carryovers the Doctors do. So let's just get into them.
See, I met this person and I got whooshed away across all space and time. I mean, I had the most amazing adventures, really. I mean, you wait till you hear, because I'm going to tell you them all.
Yes. So the companions this time were two from the Fourth Doctor's time in the TARDIS.
Yes.
And they are,
yes, we have the lovely Sarah Sutton playing Nyssa, the shorter of the two in this picture. Her first appearance was the episode Keeper of Traken. We'll be talking more about that later. The taller, gorgeous lady in purple was one of my first crushes. The incomparable Janet Fielding playing the first Australian on Doctor Who, Tegan Travanka.
There you go.
Yes.
Jace, a little shout out to you, buddy.
Janet's first episode was Legopolis, the episode immediately prior to this.
Oh, interesting.
And the third companion was Adric, played by Matthew Waterhouse,
who looks like his hair fits the time period of a Camelot type.
It really does.
He fits.
I guess again, budget, hair and makeup is what it is.
Is my hair okay for the show? You know what? Yeah, don't change a thing, kid.
He needs a trim. Give me a bowl.
Yeah, exactly. I found it very interesting.
His first episode.
Go for it.
His first episode was another Tom Baker series. The first episode was called Full Circle, when the Doctor and Romana were brought into E-space on a series of adventures, all worth looking into.
Yeah. Once you get past the low budget, the Doctor Who stories are really well done, so it's a lot of fun. And he's one of the characters that we haven't seen in modern Who. So in case you're wondering what he looks like today, I went and did that for you. You're welcome. And that's what he looks like today. He still has his childish face. It's just his hair is like ours now. Yeah.
Some men, and call it a blessing or a curse.
Yeah.
Some men have a baby face. which is why some of us have to grow facial hair.
Yep. I don't do a lot of it. I just do a little bit, and otherwise they card me, and I'm like 43. So
Yeah, please. I got boots older than you.
Yeah, but the companions have a lot of fun in this episode trying to save the Doctor and get him in the zero room.
I wouldn't call Adric's experience in this episode fun.
Well, in this episode, he went through some stuff. He was held up for a little bit.
He was a hostage of the Master.
Yeah,
and forced to use his mathematical excellence to physically create this environment of Castrovalva. That web that he's in helped replicate, for want of a better word, his mathematical computations into matter. They touched on it in Logopolis. It's called block transfer computation. It's the ability to create matter from pure mathematics.
There you go.
Very interesting concept.
Yeah.
Especially for 82. That's a hell of a concept for 82.
Right.
So, really fascinating. And the fact that they used his abilities and his power to literally create the city on this barren planet. Just amazing. We also met some of the natives to Castrovalva. Shadavan, the gentleman who you showed in the other clip with the planter hat. Murgrave, his buddy.
Yeah.
And then the wise Portreeve, the elder, the leader of the town, if you will.
Right.
And if you're looking at the Portreeve and thinks he look a little bit familiar, and then when you check the credits,
hold on to that. We'll get into that.
Yes, let's see.
Is it time for the enemies, or is that what we're telling?
Not yet, because I wanted to say that in the credits, the actor playing the Portreeve, in the credits, his name is Neil Toynay.
Yes.
Remember that. Neil Toynay. So if you're thinking it's somebody that you know, okay, no, they say it right there in the credits. It's Neil Toynay. So it can't be who I think it is. Can it?
No.
Roll that beautiful enemy footage.
Yes.
I shall now kill you, Doctor.
Amazing. And it's funny because this is the next episode, I believe, the next story.
It is. That shot was taken from the episode Earth Shock, the last episode of the story. They didn't really keep this up in New Who, but the old Cybermen that you saw were allergic to gold. So when the Doctor is scratching, that's Adric's badge that the Doctor is scratching into the chest plate of the Cyberman. That's gold. Gotcha. And it literally the gold gets into their artificial lungs and they asphyxiate.
Yes.
On gold.
Yes. So very interesting. But in this episode, we are dealing with the Master, played by the second iteration of the Master, this fine gentleman.
Great Anthony Ainley.
Yes, Anthony Ainley.
Yes. Anthony Ainley premiered. Well, the Master goes back to the 60s, to the John Pertwee era. At the time, played by the late Peter Delgado. And he was... the Master did come back for 2 episodes during the Tom Baker era. The Deadly Assassin, which is the first time we see the Doctor and the Master in about 10 years. And this Master that we see is almost like almost zombie-esque. He's decrepit. His skin is rotting. He's used up all of his regenerations because in his passion to not be caught for the various villainy he's done throughout the universe, he keeps regenerating. He didn't use it the way most Time Lords do. Most Time Lords hold on to their regenerations and only use it when they absolutely have to. the master would regenerate at will to avoid capture. We're looking for a man who's 6'1" with short, slick back, graying hair and a goatee. And you're looking for him. Boom! Now I'm a 5'2" blonde. Well, they're not going to think it's me until that iteration of the master goes out and does what he does and is forced to regenerate again. So, in The Deadly Assassin, the master is near the end of his regenerations and is defeated by the Doctor one last time and left to die.
Yes.
Until one of the last episodes of Tom Baker, The Keeper of Traken, where we first meet the lovely Nyssa, who is the daughter of the stately Tremas, a councilman on the Council of Traken, the planet, who is in line to be the next Keeper of Traken. Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, stuffy happens.
Yes.
The master becomes the Keeper of Traken and is defeated by the Doctor. But with the last remnants of power that the Keeper of Traken has, the master is able to freeze Tremas and literally take over his body. Let his essence go into Tremas's body, and he literally becomes Tremas. His hair shortens, his beard darkens and cuts to a goatee, and we see this master. Nyssa doesn't know this. She sends a message to the Doctor. Doctor, help me find my father. Which leads to Legopolis and the return of the master. And Nyssa thinks, this is my father, just younger. How is he younger? I don't know. But it's not. Just adding to the villainy of the master. Using this poor child under the guise of her father.
Messed
villainy.
Up. True villain.
To say nothing of what he does to poor Tegan. The master has one of the best weapons I've ever seen. Not only in Doctor Who, but in all of sci-fi. It was brought back for the last iteration of the master during Jodie Whittaker's time. It is a weapon called the Tissue Compression Eliminator. What it does is when fired at a victim, it removes all water and compresses the tissues of the body and literally shrinks the poor victim down to the size of a doll. And he will leave this doll there as a macabre calling card of, I did this to you. And the master used this weapon to kill Tegan's aunt, Aunt Vanessa. So both Tegan and Nyssa have a gripe against this master. And during their time with Peter Davison, the master comes back quite a bit. So that animosity just grows and grows and grows and just leads to some fantastic storytelling.
Absolutely. Now, what I liked about this master is he reminded me of like a Bond villain.
Oh yeah.
You know, the way he
look at the time period, 82. The
Yeah,
master was initially, it's funny you say that because I think that was the writer's intention at the time. When John Pertwee became the third Doctor, and they stranded him on Earth. What was that? It was 60, I believe 68, possibly 69. I'm not sure. Someone in the comments correct me.
And while you're correcting him and you're watching this for the first time and you've discovered us for the first time, please be sure to do all those wonderful YouTube things like subscribe and ring the bell so that you're alerted to our next episode when it comes out, because we get a little bit of timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly because of certain technical difficulties, so they're not always at 8 p.m. on Tuesday like they're supposed to be. So, that's why you're watching this on this wonderful, beautiful Sunday. But be sure to also follow us on social medias, including Instagram and or Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. And that's To Be Seen in the Console Room Podcast and TikTok. Follow the Console Room Podcast on TikTok. You can talk with Ernesto, the host of the show, directly. And while you're doing all that, please give us a like. It's free. It helps the channel grow. It helps us do so many wonderful things in time and space, including bring new episodes to you. So please be sure to do all those fun things. Go ahead, Ernesto.
And we love to hear from our wonderful fans. So where were we talking about the Master? So at the time when Peter Delgado was the Master, the Doctor was stranded on Earth as penance for stealing the TARDIS. Sentence presided over by the Time Lords.
Mm-hmm.
So again, just like they did in 82, going a different direction from Tom Baker, when John Pertwee took over, they decided to go in a different direction and leave him earthbound, because at the time, James Bond was really, really popular.
Mm-hmm.
There, you couldn't go anywhere without tripping over an Ian Fleming book or seeing a new Bond movie, or especially Bond girls and Bond villains. So when you say that the Master reminds you of a Bond villain, you're actually not wrong.
See?
He was designed as a Bond villain, and in 82, I think it was Moonraker.
Yes, Moonraker.
Came out in 82. So in keeping with the Bond villain idea and the fact that anyone who wears if you're evil, you need a goatee.
That's right. I mean, that's how you differentiated between good and bad Spock.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember? Yeah, you had a goatee.
Yes. No,
Yeah.
Well, that's where it all started. That's where it all started was with Mirror Spock. Yeah. Well, of course he's evil. Look at his beard.
Yeah, he's a bad guy. Look at his beard. Yeah. So a lot of fun there with this one. And what bugged me about this episode was the web that he weaved and the mathematical equations to kind of control this section of this planet and I guess drain the Doctor. Right? Was that the master plan? Since he's weak in the regeneration process, that part of the plan was never really completely unfurled. It's more along the lines of, I think he just wanted the Doctor to be at his weakest, and then when everything came together, it would eventually kill him one way or the other. Unfortunately, the best laid plans of the Master usually fall apart. Yep.
As they did with this. But to oversee, to make sure that this plan was going according to his will, the Master disguised himself and put himself in the middle of the Metropolis.
Yep, he was.
Who could he have possibly been?
With the double hats the whole time.
Yep, he was. He was the Portreeve. And if you say, well, wait a minute, Ernesto, but you just said that it was Neil Toynay playing the Portreeve. Spell out the words. Neil, Toynay. It's an anagram for Anthony Ainley. Mm-hmm. So I would love to know how many fans were fooled initially. Because when you first see the Portreeve, you're like, wait a minute, is that because again, we're just a few episodes ago, we saw this actor with long gray hair and a gray beard when he was Tremas. Mm-hmm. Then he becomes the Master with the short black hair and the black goatee. And now we see this other man with the white and obviously, made up wrinkles. So you think, but you're not. It's almost a Mandela effect type of thing. But no, it's just another actor completely. I'm sure there's just a similarity. But no, it was Anthony Ainley the whole time.
Yeah,
watching over to make sure his evil plan came to pass, but it didn't, because the Master, his dendrites healed, the synapses started firing. The regeneration was complete, and the new Doctor prevails once again.
Yes. So that is our first jump into the very first episode of the fifth Doctor. What are some of your favorite moments?
Classic
from his
Who, I
time?
guess it would.
Yes, classic Who, of course. And of course, we all know the connection, as we discussed in a previous episode, that he is the father of the Doctor's wife, who played the Doctor's daughter in the David Tennant Doctor Who time and New Who. But I always thought he was shorter than David Tennant. Excuse me, taller than David Tennant. He seems very tall. Tennant is a tall dude.
Yeah, no, they're about yeah. Again, tall, still obviously still a very handsome man.
Yeah. He's 72
and
years old. Yeah, rocking it.
yeah.
Yeah. And
So and still working with Doctor Who. He returned for
he returns quite often.
For Jodie's last episode.
Yeah.
He does a lot of Big Finish stuff. Still doing cons. I'm not sure if he has any conventions planned for the States this year, but still working cons, still getting out there, still a wonderful ambassador for Doctor Who.
Yeah. I find it interesting. I was doing a little bit of research, and he was actually at the time a high profile actor
Yes,
to do this. So it was a big deal to have him in Doctor Who, but it didn't matter how big of a deal it was. It was very tough to follow Tom Baker.
That was probably the intention. You know, if you're going to follow a star like Tom Baker, we're going to need another name,
right?
Because a lot of people are not going to be happy. I'm sure many weren't, as we said earlier. But if you're gonna have someone fill these shoes, it better be someone with a comparable shoe size.
Exactly.
Hence Peter Davison.
Yeah. So so far
arguably Peter Capaldi.
Yeah, Peter Capaldi was a well-known actor. Same type of
for Peter Capaldi.
And that's another parallel, because you have the youngest guy jumping in as to the Doctor after a very popular Doctor. Matt Smith was very popular and I actually watched like right on schedule with Matt Smith, so that was kind of fun at the time. But Matt Smith was super popular. I would say he was almost parallel with David Tennant. So when they got Capaldi, it's like, oh, I know that guy from the foul. He was a foul mouth version of House of Cards in the BBC. So I found it very interesting, and that's a fun parallel. You had an older guy who took off after a popular younger guy, so there was like a little bit of a parallel twist thing going on here. And
when the time comes and we review Peter Capaldi's first episode, I have some ideas as to just as I had an idea why 9 regenerated into a younger appearance. There's a number of reasons why 11 regenerated into this the older visage of that we know as Peter Capaldi. But we'll discuss that when
we get to Capaldi.
When we review that. Speaking of which,
yes.
But speaking of which, you gave me an idea.
Oh, did I? I'm good for that.
Yes, you did. Yes, occasionally you are. For those of you who don't watch the Agony Booth, A, shame on you. B, the way they pick their episodes is they have the Wheel of Torture.
We have the Wheel of Agony,
where they list names of the Wheel of Agony. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Don't put me in the Agony Booth over there. But this is how they decide their episodes. So, and there are plenty.
Yeah,
there are plenty.
Pretty bad. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, would you like to have a spin a wheel of who? A wheel of regeneration?
That's exactly what I think. That's exactly what I think we're going to do. Let's leave.
I've never bit off myself before. That's interesting. I've had a lot of people bite off the Captain Squadron. Somebody decided to have a wheel of their own, but I love them, so I'm not going to be a bitch about it. But yeah, that's a very interesting concept. I will talk to our producer, and while we're talking about,
I've already tracked down the software and whatnot. It's just a matter of me, plugging it in and figuring out how to actually record it. So folks, you're gonna have to follow us on the socials
to see what the next episode is.
Who we will be covering next.
Amazing. All right, so I'm excited for this, and it's something that I didn't have to pay for, so that's even better. I just want to go and throw happy hellos to all the folks that help us in this podcast, and please continue to share our stuff, and we will share yours, including of course, as we mentioned several times, the Agony Booth. It is the Captain's Quadrant. It's the same show. It's just a different coin. When we're doing the back looks of different Star Trek iterations, we are in the Agony Booth, and we try to find the harder to watch episodes. And last week was And the Children Shall Lead. That was a tough episode, but boy, was that a lot of fun to talk with Michael Chan. We gave him PSTD, whatever, yeah, post-traumatic stress. Very, very exciting. And we got to relive my moments of getting drunk in China. So that's always fun. Of course, please be sure to check out our friends and our producer behind the scenes. That is VHS Chase and Rick. VHS Chase is our producer. Rick is just a very handsome, Bond-esque gentleman there.
I was going to say, he looks like a Bond villain himself.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, he Dr. Bond, but he's Australian. So, hey, mate, I got you. No, so be sure to check out Pop Culture Spread. I do the worst Australian impressions, so please don't ask me to do those. But you can check them out at Fridays at 6:30 p.m. in the U.S. and Saturday at 9 a.m. in Australia if you are an Australian fan. And be sure to check out my buddy Jason Roy Gaston, who doesn't really need a plug because he's about to hit 10,000 subscribers. So, check him out. You probably already do, but he has a lot of fun with all his furry friends, including our producer again, who's showing up everywhere. Jason VHS Chase. They are doing one of my favorite shows that we used to work together on briefly, and that is the VHS Vault. They just did Big Trouble in Little China. That's one of my favorite movies from the 80s. Very classic. And of course, be sure to check out our friends, the Scarif Podcast, all that scuttlebutt. Be sure to check out pure unadulterated nerd talk from the Red 5 Network over there. Be sure to check out our friends, the Sci-Fi Queens, over on the Sci-Fi Queens channel. And of course, I got to take a moment to support a welcome back. There's a gentleman that has been a friend of mine for a good 10 years now, I want to say. His name is A.J. Orsini. And A.J. Orsini is the person that took a moment and said, hey, why don't you come on my podcast? It's the first time I was on a podcast, was on his podcast. And that podcast is called the OUM, A.J. Orsini's Uncensored Mind. And he is back. They took a bit of a hiatus, and he is just jumping right into it, not wasting any time. And they are a wrestling and pop culture podcast that you will have, I guarantee. Yeah, you will have a blast listening to them if you like wrestling and some of the stuff we do.
I absolutely will.
They don't really do Doctor Who or Star Trek, but there happens to be a very big overlap on those two. So, they're talking about us and we're talking about them. I absolutely urge you to check out the Orsini's Uncensored Mind podcast with he and his brother. They are actually building a big network similar to that of To Be Seen. So we wish them best of luck, and we'll be
Joe. I don't let this get her out, but we do have other interests other than what our shows are about.
Are you sure about that? I don't know. We like stuff. I like to read comic books. Yes, but there is a lot.
I like stuff.
I like stuff. Stuff is fun. There is a lot of fun all over the internet, and there's plenty of time to get it all in. So be sure to check those folks out. And the links to those things are down below in the podcast notes. So do yourself a favor, check all those folks out. But, more so Captain's Quadrant. We will see you next week. And you have to be sure to check out our Instagram, our TikTok, and all our other socials to find out what episode we're going to be talking about next. So until then, enjoy the flights of space and time in the console room.